I was like, I don't think I have like any crazy learning moments. Like I never missed like a kiss down the aisle or anything like that. But business wise, I've had to learn a lot and I've had a lot of aha moments. But I think the biggest one being that I get to choose who I want to work with.
That's a good one.
And that has been the scariest thing that I've done, but the most pivotal for my business.
Yeah.
And it's been the best thing that I've done, obviously for myself, but also for the couples that I work with.
You can please some of the people all of the time,
You can please all of the people some of the time.
but you can't please all of the people all of the time.
Welcome to the People Pleasers Podcast. Hey, everybody. What's
Hi.
up?
What's up?
Welcome.
Welcome back.
I guess that was still an intro.
I thought that was the intro.
No, I'm saying we still were doing like an intro rather than just like talking.
Yeah.
I don't
It's hard.
care. Intros are hard, guys.
Yeah.
Welcome into it.
Yeah. We're
Welcome.
back.
We are
after a
back.
couple of weeks.
Couple weeks, still January, still fresh into
Wow.
the new year. Feels like it's
What
been
day
like a
is
month.
it? I know.
Like it's only the 15th,
No.
14th,
14.
mid-Jan.
Doesn't matter.
Crazy.
Yeah.
We're here.
Wow.
Taking a couple weeks off, had Snowmageddon, traveled, had some good cries.
Some
There's
good
been a lot of
sickness,
things.
yeah.
Some good sick.
It's
all
just
the
good.
things. Yeah, it's good. Here we are. What if
Yeah. You've been all over the place. You've been
have.
to New York and Delaware and back.
I went so many places.
was that?
It was so much fun. We went for this is a trip we had planned for Abby's 30th. Her best friend and also like my double big sister that I grew up with, Sarah, lives in Delaware. So we went there January 2nd through the 6th, just a nice little kind of like long extended weekend. Sarah surprised us with our other childhood friend, their childhood friend, another double big sister of mine, Riley. So she surprised Abby with that. So it was the four of us all weekend. We got to see Sarah's house, got to see her neighborhood in Delaware. And then we went up to Philly. We went to New Jersey, Princeton.
Wow.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, I'm not a school gal.
Yeah.
Hate college, but like I'll go back to school. This means I can go here.
Yeah.
So beautiful. The town is just so cute. And then obviously my favorite was New York. We were there for not even like just barely 24 hours, which was perfect because it was so
Did you stay there?
freaking cold. Yes.
Okay. Just for one night.
Just for one night. It was so effing cold that I was like, okay, I've seen New York in every season. I know that like got to see it and got to see the Christmas stuff, but I will never do this again.
Yeah.
Because the whole point of New York is like everything is grab and go. You're walking everywhere. You literally are forced to be outside. So we had some little frozen fingies and some frozen toes.
You didn't bring gloves?
I forgot them. I had a hat, had my coat, had my scarf, but it couldn't have saved you. It was still so cold, but we made the most of it. We saw as much as we could because it was Abby and Riley's first time in New York. So Sarah and I were the tour guides, just kind of walking around, going everywhere, which was really fun.
Did you take the subway?
We did.
How was it? Were you safe?
Yeah, we were good. I was
No
a little
bad encounters?
No bad encounters, which I was praying for because I was like, I don't want Abby and Riley's first encounter to be something scary or bad or just like weird. But yeah, no, it went well. We rode the subway several times. We took a couple Ubers just for the heck of it, just because it was
Get
so
out of the
damn
cold.
cold. Yes, honestly, that we're like everyone else up for this. Yeah. But again, we were only there 24 hours, so we saw a lot of stuff and had a lot of fun, and then came back to. Thankfully, got so lucky. We were one of the last flights out of Philly that morning before the storm hit them because it went straight east. Had no idea that like Delaware is literally straight east of Kansas City.
Wow.
It literally just went. Whew.
I honestly couldn't even point out Delaware on a map.
It's small.
Is it on the coast?
Yes, it
Okay.
takes. Sarah said it takes like an hour and a half to drive like top to bottom. It's tiny.
Wow.
Yeah, it's little, but it's really cute, really quaint. Old Newcastle, whatever it is. I can't even remember.
Could have fooled me.
That was one of the towns we went to that she showed us and got to see the Delaware. Like, you know,
Wait, what's that?
like the body of water.
Oh. Is it a lake? What's the Delaware? Is it a river?
We're gonna move past that.
I don't know geography.
I don't really either. It's okay. So we're just not even gonna go into that. It's not a geography lesson.
Who's the Delaware?
Who is said Delaware? No, it was really fun. It was really good to spend some time with them. And I love just Abby getting to be around them because Riley lives in Texas, Sarah lives in Delaware, Abby's here, so like they're not together all the time. So those are her childhood best friends. So it was just really cool. And again, my childhood friends too. So it was just fun to kind of I don't know, hang out with them at a capacity as adults. Like when we were younger, I was always the little sister, and Abby was like, no, she's not hanging out with us, like rightfully so, as one older sister does, because I just want to tag along. So as like women having conversations that we had with each other and just like things we were talking about, I'm like, wow, this is really cool.
It's really cool.
So,
yeah. Throughout all the different phases of life.
Yeah.
Lives. You've known
all
each
the
other.
lives. All the lives we've lived.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really fun, and then came back to a shit ton of snow.
Snowmageddon.
Yeah,
It was crazy.
I'm sad. I had FOMO. I love watching it snow.
Oh, it was really pretty.
I'm sad that I missed it.
And it was
I just came
like
back
a full
to
24 hours, basically.
I'm sad. I'm really sad I missed out on that. But
That's okay. You got some beautiful snow pictures of the aftermath.
I did.
So.
Yep. And it snowed again a few nights, sometime this past week. So I got to like still watch some of it, and it was pretty.
But it wasn't the 10-foot snowfall that we had.
Seen it. It's fine.
It's okay.
It's fine.
You were living life, and you were seeing the Delaware.
I was seeing the
You missed out on the
Delaware.
snowfall.
I missed the snow. Yeah, it was good.
Well, good.
Yeah, here we are. What have you been up to?
Not a whole lot of things.
That's okay.
Yeah, I feel like I took 2 full weeks off for the holidays. So that was, But listen, it hit me hard going back last week.
Yeah.
Like to the point where I was like physically ill, and I don't know if I like did it to myself or if I had some little bug or what. Probably
a combination.
I think so. Yeah. But I was just out for the count all last week and just like very like honestly depressed. Yeah. Like I think it was just transitioning and having responsibilities again after having that freedom and you know, just the pressure that comes with a new year. It's like, yes, you're so excited, but then it's like, okay, it's a new year, and then now what? Now I have to I don't know. Just going back is always hard, and it just hit me so hard. Yeah. So I just did a lot of crying, did a lot of just like sleeping. Like I was just like, I couldn't function.
No, your body was telling you,
yes.
Like, you can't, dude. I need this right now.
Yeah, it really sucked. Like, really sucked. Like, I remember like crying to Zach and be like, I just want to feel good. Like, I want to feel like myself. And like when you're in it, you feel like you are never going to feel good again. Yeah. And then you do. So got through that. Thankfully, happened last week. I have a wedding coming up this weekend. So I'm like, okay.
First one, 25.
Yes. Yeah. First 2025. So that's exciting. I'm glad that I'm in a better, mental state, physical state, all of that this week to tackle that this weekend, because I don't know what I would have done if
you had to go straight into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be very, very hard to just like turn it off and be my normal self on a wedding day when I'm not feeling like my normal self. Right. So,
well, I'm proud of you for taking the time that you needed, whether your body kind of even allowed you to have that choice or not. Right. I'm glad you did. And I'm proud of you for working through it. I know we're still working on the 100%. It's okay. You don't have to be 100%, but I'm proud of you for recognizing I need to slow down. I need to feel this. I need to cry. I need to just be sad or feel whatever I need to feel right now.
Yeah, I think it's that. And then on top of, obviously, all of the, not a laughing matter, all of the wildfires that were happening in LA, that was just constantly all over my feed last week too. So just feeling like I couldn't escape that and just hurting so badly for what everybody there was going through. Like the empath in me, like, oh yeah, such a beautiful thing and such a horrible thing at the same time.
The helplessness of like, I phically can't do anything and I hate it. I want to help,
but I'm hurting, and I'm just hurting for these people who are hurting.
Yes.
So that on top of just, life things, it was just a lot.
Yeah. You don't say.
And I'm like, and then I felt selfish being like, why am I like they're the ones dealing with it. Why am I sitting here like crying about it, crying for them? Like, doesn't have anything to do with me. So then I was like, what is my problem? I'm so selfish. Just a whole like nice little cycle.
Tell yourself that no, I can feel these things.
Yeah.
It's all the human experience. It's okay.
Right. The fact that I care so much is a beautiful thing.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a heavy week.
I know. Yeah. So but we're here.
We're
back. It feels good to be back with you.
It does.
I missed you last week.
I know. I missed you too. I know. It's always, whenever it's longer than a week, it feels like a month.
I know.
And I don't know why, but it always just feels extremely longer.
I know. And every time I'm like, oh my gosh, I had all of these things I wanted to tell you that I've like held back from texting you every single day.
I do have something to tell you that I think you're going to be happy about.
Oh my gosh, what?
We started Silo. We're already through season 1.
Don't you love it?
I love it so
It's
much.
So good.
We're on like the second episode
of season 2.
Second or third episode. Okay. But the season finale is this week.
I know.
It? Yeah.
Yes.
That's why I'm like, I gotta catch up before someone spoils it.
And let me just tell you, last week's episode was so good. It was so good. So it gets really, really good.
Okay.
I'm not normally a sci-fi girl.
I'm not really either.
But it's so good.
It is.
It was such a good storyline.
It's something about like I love thrillers. Mm-hmm. I'm like, ooh, keep me on the edge of my seat. Give me a little taste of anxiety.
Mm-hmm. Just a smidge.
Not too much. Don't make it too real. Just a little bit of like, okay, I'll have anxious thoughts, but like this can't actually happen, so it's fine. Or can it? No, I'm just kidding.
No, trust me. We could go into
we could go into
the whole spiral about that.
Another episode, but we love it. It's good.
I'm so glad that you started watching it. Yes. Thank you so much for moving it to top of your list.
Thanks for like recommending
raving about it.
Yes, because it's something we were like, oh yeah, we should watch that one. But I don't think if you would have said that, we probably would have been like, no, I want to watch this one first. Yeah. Why did I do his voice like that? Sorry. Sorry, Holt. Love you. Sorry, bruh. Well, anyway.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I also took forever to start watching it. Mm-hmm. One of my best friends, Michaela, was like, Silo, you have to watch Silo. The season 2 is coming out soon. Like, it is the best show I've ever watched, Silo. And like, we would hang out, and every time she'd be like, have you started Silo? And I was like, no, I haven't. And I'm like, the fact that she wants me to watch this so badly, she knows that I'm going to like it. Yeah. So shout out to Michaela for introducing Silo to me, and so I could bring it to you.
To me. Yes. Thank you so much.
I love that you're watching it though. Zach's parents started watching it also. Ooh. So I'm just influencing everybody to watch it.
Look at you little trendsetter.
Yeah, they should start paying me.
They should. For advertising.
Literally.
Side gig.
Exactly.
Oh man. Well, today
it's a very exciting day.
It's a very exciting day. Our first guest.
Yay!
We had our first guest.
Yes.
First time.
So first guest today is the lovely one and only Mallorie McBride.
Yes.
And it's such a good conversation that we had with her, and just, learning more about her and what makes her the way she is, and discovering new things about her that we didn't necessarily know ahead of time. It's
professionally, personally, all of it. Yeah. It's
so exciting.
It's a good episode that I think people can definitely relate to, but also people that know her, especially industry-wise, are just only going to get to know the incredible person that she is more and more.
I love it.
I'm excited to go back and listen to this episode.
I know.
It was I think we could have kept talking for a while.
No, we definitely could have.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm all yours.
Like,
I can stay. We're
say
like,
less.
It's okay. It's going to be a 3-hour episode. Too much
our
for us to edit.
Yet.
I love it.
It was really fun. I'm excited for you guys to hear it.
Yeah. So I guess without further ado, let's get into it.
Yeah.
Mallorie, welcome to the People Pleasers podcast.
Hi. Guys, we're so excited to be here.
We're so excited to have you.
So excited. We've been talking about this for a while.
I know. Well, I remember when Grace first told me about it, and it's so crazy to see how far it's come, and everything you guys have done has been so cool. So I'm so excited. I'm a little scared, but I'm honored to be here.
How clammy are your hands right now?
A little nervous. I think one of the biggest reasons though is because I've admired you guys throughout the episodes that you've done, like how honest and vulnerable you've been. And so I really, coming into it, told myself that I'm going to be as vulnerable and as honest as you guys. And so I think there is a part of me that's scared about that, but that's like why you started this. And so I'm trying to remind myself that that's a good thing, and only good things can come from being sharing vulnerable. Your heart and being honest. So yeah.
Well, we appreciate that. We're excited to, obviously we all kind of know each other. We know each other plenty. Obviously we know you decently. And we all have kind of different relationships with each other. But we're just really excited to know more about you, even deeper. I know there's things that I probably don't even know about you that I'm just excited to get to know more. So
yay.
Let's go ahead and dive on in.
Well, to start, how did you guys meet? We've hit on it a little bit in past episodes, but I want to hear from you, Mal.
College.
Yes.
We were in the same sorority. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think. I don't remember like a specific. Do you remember exactly when we met?
I remember.
She's like, yes, I remember what I was wearing.
Exactly. I remember 2 of my like earliest memories with you were bid day. I remember seeing you.
Yes. Okay.
And then my second was we both worked at Fortuity.
Wait. So I blocked that out of my brain.
Yep.
So that's why I don't remember. I completely forgot it. Yeah, that was a dark time in my life.
That was, but yes, that was interesting.
I did. Okay. So yeah. So you were one of my first theta friends, and that's why, because that was my first job.
Yes.
Like I didn't really have too many. Well, freshman year, everybody's just like figuring it out. You're kind of just talking to everybody to kind of see like who you click with and who you vibe with. But you were one of my first theta friends, and that's because we had that job together.
Yes.
I totally forgot about
Is
that.
Fortuity a boutique?
Not
It
anymore.
was.
I know.
Yes.
You said Fortuity, and I'm
Yeah.
like, hang on a second. That just unlocked something
because they
in
had
my
one.
memory.
They had one in K-State.
Yes.
K-State too.
Okay.
And now they're like a bigger shop of smaller shop, something like that. I honestly don't really remember, but it was
Either
Fortuity
way.
at one point.
It was Fortuity
It
at one
was.
point, and we worked there.
We did. It was a fun time.
It was a fun time. Yes.
And then remained friends throughout
Yeah.
college, kind of went through
Yeah.
college, and then even therefore after being in the industry together.
I know. Yeah. We were always like, we always just kept in touch. And then I remember we'd always be the people that are like, it's been a couple months, let's get dinner. Or like,
Right.
we would be the person to like randomly text the other and be like, can I get your advice on this? Or I need your input on this, especially coming into the wedding industry. Post grad, before I switched, I started out in marketing, and before I made the jump, sorry if I'm like running through.
No,
through
no,
what
you're
you wanna
good.
talk about. But when I made that jump, I remember you were in the industry, and so then we started chatting more.
Yes.
And it just we started as friends in college, but grew. I think I would say we grew our relationship through the industry, and it got
Yes.
deeper that way.
We also had the same major. We were in the J school
I
together.
know.
I just was
I
like,
know.
wait, we had classes
That's what I was
together.
thinking too.
So
I know.
we go way back.
Yeah.
We're very intertwined.
Yes.
In a lot of
it's
ways.
been, oh gosh, we're old now. It's been what, 7, 8 years probably that we've known each other.
Holy cow.
Yeah, because
Wow.
yeah, 19. Yeah, no, we're old.
Cute. Coming up on a decade.
I know that's nuts.
Wow, that's crazy. So yeah, that's kind of how we met. But you're right. The wedding industry, I think, definitely brought us our friendship a lot closer, brought that bond a lot closer. A lot of very deep conversations, I feel like, after we left college. But yeah, here we are.
Yeah, 100%. If I could change anything differently, I wish that we started getting closer in college.
I know.
You know?
I think, yeah.
Well, Grace talks about all the time, like college version of herself not being like her favorite version, and you kind of hit on that a little bit too. So what was your college experience like, or what was?
Yeah, I always knew, I've always been like an old soul, and I've never felt the age that I am. Now that I am actually older, it's a little different. I feel like I finally caught up to myself. But in college, I never wanted to go to KU. I wanted to go so far away. I wanted to, live in the big city, do that whole thing, and just for a multitude of reasons stuck around at KU. But my fear of why I didn't want to go there is kind of what made me resent it a little bit once I did get there, was the fact that it felt like high school again.
Right.
Which I did not do too much to help that fact. I joined a sorority that all of my high school friends were like it. So a lot of that was my fault, but I'm not a huge partier. Like, college was not the best years of my life. And I knew that then, and I also knew that going into it. And so I think it was fine for me. Like, I enjoyed my time. I made the most incredible friends I'll ever have, and I will always be so thankful for that. And I grew a lot, but I'm not doing shit with my degree. So that was a complete waste of money and time. I don't know about you, but our program was, I didn't learn anything at all.
No.
Honestly, like I formatted my schedule so I only had classes Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I would drive to downtown Kansas City. I had internships Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Right.
Like, I always wanted to work and hustle and do all of that. And so school was kind of just the thing that like I had to do,
Right.
To be able to get to the next step. So I don't know. Obviously everything happens for a reason. But college was fine, but it was not the best 4 years of my life by any means.
I feel similar in a sense of like how we learn and how we like thrive. We're very much like, I want to be there. I want to do it. I want to do it with my hands. I can't sit in a classroom. You tell me what to do. Like, I'm a visual person.
Yes.
So I feel very much too, like you were someone that was like, I can't sit here and be lectured to. Like, I want there to be action, and I want to be a part of that action. And you were always from the beginning, like you said, like that hustler, like from the beginning, the internships, the jobs, like the experiences you were putting yourself into in college. Like, that was something like I admired about you then, and then still admire about you, that you were just always that go-getter of like, I can achieve this, I can achieve that, I'm going to go do it, and then I'm going to go on to the next thing. Like, you've always been like that.
It's because I'm an impatient person. That's at the core of it. I'm working on that.
Might be
sit
part
still.
of it, but not all of it. I think there's a lot of reasons as to why you are the way you are. And I think it's just because you have such a big drive and creative energy, and you're just so fun to be around, that your energy just constantly is looking for the fun, the creative, the people, all of the good. That's
so
what
nice.
it's
Thank
going
you.
towards. Yes. Yeah. Well, obviously we talked about how we know each other. How did you guys meet?
Did we work a
wedding.
wedding together?
Uh-huh.
What wedding?
Well,
What?
I remember the first time we didn't meet, but it was the
I
night
remember
that
what I
you-
was wearing and what music
Yeah,
was
no,
playing.
I do, because I was like, oh, she's
is
so
your
cute
turn.
and like cool and fun.
Stop it.
Yes.
Stop it.
Yes.
Something
Oh,
else
yeah.
about me is my memory's horrible.
Good. So you
Horrible.
don't remember
So
the
this
first
is on
time you
track.
met me? No, it wasn't as
We did
impressive.
a wedding together.
Yeah, we did. But at the night, the Vendor's Choice Awards that Grace won her award, you guys, I think, were at like the same table
Oh, we sat together.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you were like, we were both like around each other
Yes.
celebrating you, but
Yes.
you and I never like talked.
Yes.
But that's how I first was like, okay, that's Mallorie McBride. Got
Okay.
it.
Okay.
And then we had a wedding together like a couple months after that.
Okay, who
it
was it?
was Bree and Sam. Was our
Yes.
first. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I
Yes.
remember exactly. Yes.
Yeah. And then I was like,
FOMO.
okay, I love her. She's the best.
Yes.
So
yes. And
that
I was
was
looking forward to that because I heard such amazing things about you from Grace. And I was like, this is going to be such a good wedding. I can't wait to work with her. So, and now we have more on the docket, which I'm so excited about.
I know.
I have
We've had
so
more
much
since then,
FOMO.
too.
I know.
So much FOMO. But I love that like my worlds are kind of like colliding in a sense. Like when you guys met or when like talking about you to other people or you to other people and especially each other, I'm always like, they're going to love each other. I can't. They're going to be best friends and it's going to be awesome. And I'm so excited. I love that. I didn't know. I just realized, yeah, that was, you guys didn't know each other at that gala.
No.
I feel like I didn't really know anyone much besides you guys.
Yeah. Well,
We all were working on it.
That was the year that Grace, the four of us, me, you, Jacob, and Holt, we sat at a table with people we didn't know
Yep.
because we didn't.
We were just like, oh, should we get a table? Sure, let's sit
Yeah.
here. Okay. Hi.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
We're going to talk to each other now.
Yeah, that was funny.
That is really funny. And then we were like, hi, Sarah.
I was in the balcony.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Which also
I was
full
like-
circle.
I came down. I was like, do you have any cheese left over?
Very different. Very different. But now full circle, we're all going to be back there. And this time we're going to be in the balcony and
Yeah.
you're going to be on the floor.
I know, but you,
And you.
are finalists this year for
I
Photographer
know.
of the Year.
I know.
How does that feel?
Good. Obviously,
Honest opinion.
Yeah,
Honest
no,
thoughts.
honestly, I'm really surprised. Really surprised. This is, the honesty coming out. There have been years past where I had hope. I was like, oh, maybe this year, like especially last year. I think there was, I don't know why, something about last year. I was like, maybe I just felt like I networked more or I put myself out there more. I was making more connections or doing more things. And I felt like last year, maybe I was just on people's minds a bit more. I had done things to maybe warrant being on people's minds more. And so I was hopeful last year and then it didn't happen, which is obviously totally fine. But this year I was not even planning on going to the gala. I kind of feel like I've just this past year kind of kept my head down a little bit more with, multitude of things. I'm engaged, planning my own wedding. Like I feel like, I just haven't been out as much. And so I was absolutely shocked. I was at a Pilates class and everybody was texting me and I literally was like, what is this about? I was like, oh my God, no way. I didn't even know the nominations were coming out. That it was just, yeah. So, and maybe that's maybe it's like serendipitous like that, or maybe there's a reason for that. But I truly was surprised, but I'm so grateful and I'm so thankful. And it means extra because this is coming from my peers and people that I respect and admire. And to me, that means way more than any of the other best of lists or anything like that, because, I win those because my dad just votes for me 10 times a day, and not to say I won a lot of,
you have a big fan club, Mal. Trust me. You have a big fan club.
No. But yeah, no. So I'm excited. I'm really excited to go, but I'm excited to go because I can't wait to see everybody. People keep asking me about it. They're like, do you think you're going to win it? I'm like, I'm like not thinking about it. The other two finalists are so incredible. Like everybody deserves to be there. And there's so many people that are deserving that are not listed on that list. So I think that there's also something that's I've been grappling with in my mind about just that aspect. Like I don't know. There's so many people that I wish could be nominated or like I'm blanking on the word.
Honored in that way.
Honored.
Yeah.
Thank you. That word's out of my mouth. Honored in that way. Thank you. but we'd be there for 10 million hours. So I understand why that's not the case, but I think there is, a sense of imposter syndrome too that just comes with it. So
for sure.
Grappling with that.
And we talked about it last episode because we talked about you winning last year. For those who aren't aware, so we're talking about the WedKC Vendor Choice Awards. So Mallory was nominated and a finalist for Photographer of the Year, which is a huge deal.
Crazy.
And thank you for sharing all of your thoughts and all of your feelings. I'm excited to celebrate you. I feel like we've all had our years of like, I had a year to feel celebrated. Last year's your years. Like this one's your year. So how cool is this?
This is so nice.
So truly full circle.
I know. I've already been thinking. Obviously, like you said, like all the finalists are amazing. If you don't win, you don't win. It's still just an honor to be the top 3 finalists.
Yeah.
But I was thinking we have the photo together with me and my award, and I was like, if Mallory gets hers,
she's
this
already
year,
thinking through.
Like, we can recreate it.
You're so funny. We definitely can.
Regardless, we're gonna have fun.
We're
gonna celebrate you. We'll borrow someone's. Regardless, we're going to celebrate you because you being nominated in itself is such a huge recognition and a big deal. And it's you're getting the flowers, your flowers. You're so deserving of this. And I'm just excited I kind of felt from the outside as your friend, I'm like, damn, why is Mallory not a finalist? So then this year I was like, yes, it's happening. Like I've been waiting every year that I'm like ready to see your name. Before we get too much into it, let's start from the beginning. Tell us a little bit about your journey and how it started, especially photography. Start there and then we'll kind of move down the line.
So do you remember when Instagram first became a thing in like 2010, 2011, and everybody was posting on it just like artsy pictures? Like it wasn't a social app. It was like a creative app.
Right.
I don't know how or why I stumbled upon it, but I did. And I must have been in, like maybe 7th grade. I was 12, 13 at the time. And I thought it was the coolest thing. And at the time there were people on there, mostly teenagers, making like funky, weird, like Tumblr style work, and there was the For You page, I think is what it was called then, or whatever, that main page where people could find you.
Yeah.
I don't remember. It's so different now, but I got in it then and I was posting like what I thought were artsy, cool photos of myself or things or whatever. And it's funny looking back on it now because I remember a friend I had at the time came to me and said, Mal, you can't be doing this when you go to high school. People are going to make fun of you.
Oh my gosh.
What?
I know, which I think like intentions were fine at the time. But that's also when I realized that other people cared more about what they were doing than I clearly seemed to care. But that's another topic.
We'll save that. That'll be later.
Yeah. So that was, I just always was drawn to like interesting, creative, unique things, especially within photos. And then in high school, we had a class that was called digital imaging. And it was basically just like how to shoot in manual, like what ISO, aperture, all that jazz was. And then the basics of Photoshop. And what really drew me to it was the teacher was really cool. Mr. Pollock, shout out to him. He still follows my work today.
Woo!
I think he still teaches at Blue Valley Northwest. But he was so fun, so cool. Everybody just like, nobody cared about photography that took the class. They just wanted to be in his class. And so I took it and I loved it and took it again and again because it was one of the classes you could repeat. And I remember asking him like, can you teach me more? Like I want to learn, was there like a level 2 to this? And I wish I remember who it was, but somebody one day reached out and said, yeah, I'd love to pay you for photos. Would you do them? And I was like, oh,
what?
Okay.
I can make money doing this?
Yeah. And it just kind of snowballed from there. I was really lucky. I never had to have like a serving job or a retail job because my job was taking senior photos on the weekends. That's just naturally what it led into because that's the age that I was at the time.
Yeah.
So I got into it when I was about 16. And it was just a fun hobby that I happened to make money at, which was really cool. But I always have been more of like a go-getter, type A, like hustle, passion gal. So the business side of things was also really interesting to me.
Yeah.
And I have always, like I said, been an old soul and I've always wanted to be an adult even when I was a kid. And to me, if I'm going to have, what I say is a business, I'm going to make it professional. So I'm going to, I had no money, but I'm going to make my own branding and I'm going to do what I can with the free website and all of that jazz. So from the very beginning, even when it wasn't really like a legitimate career, it's something that I took super seriously. So, but again, never something I saw being a career because nobody really told. Maybe now it's different, 10 years later, you can tell, people that age might know, oh, that is like a possible option to be a career. But at the time I didn't. And where I grew up, it was just you go to college. Like it's a non-negotiable.
Yep.
I 100% could be doing this career now without having gone to college. But again, at the time you don't know it. And so went to school for journalism because it was the most like creative thing that I could find. And photography at KU was a little bit more, it wasn't the type of photography that I was necessarily, it was like film photography.
Yes.
So it's just different. When I toured, I remember going into the department and thinking it was really cool, but I don't think that you could get a minor in photography.
Only film.
That. Okay. Yeah. Only film. And so I knew I didn't want to major in it.
They had photography classes.
Yes.
But it wasn't anything geared towards like a specific, like you said, like a career in itself. Like I took 2 photography classes and those were the only photography classes that were offered.
Yeah. No.
Like that was it.
I think it was, you could take only 2 if you were outside of the program. Wasn't it? You had to be in the program or in the art school or something
like that. Yes. Because I was a film minor and I didn't qualify for any more classes than that.
Okay.
But it's
I
just
didn't know
like
that about you.
That's how I met Delaney.
Oh, fun.
Yes.
Okay. She's a film minor?
I didn't finish. I literally went 3 years and then kicked the film minor because I had a horrible professor that made me want to leave.
He said, well, I didn't graduate with that.
Hey, you
didn't graduate with it, but got close enough. Okay. So I don't know if Delaney ended up graduating with it. We'll have to ask her. But hearing you say that, I'm like, now that I think about it, there wasn't anything more because I was like, well, I guess this is the end of any sort of photography class.
Yeah, it was also something too where, and we'll get into this later on, but I love taking photos, but let me rephrase that. I like taking photos. I love the business, the connection, like the networking, like there's different sides of it. Like, and I felt like the photographer, it's just a different landscape.
Yeah.
There's different types of photographers and that's so great. But for me, that just wasn't what I was drawn to. So I got a degree in journalism. I always wanted to go into fashion or beauty marketing, and having like the skill set with photography and just being creative in general, like really aided to that. But then I graduated in 2020 and no one was moving to New York, which is where I wanted to go at the time.
Hey.
So I just stuck around, and throughout college, I still shot too. But again, it was just like a side income. Honestly, staying at KU was really good for me because, like I said, I was able to come back and forth to Kansas City a lot to either do shoots or, like I said, have a job. But it was always like a extra little perk, like something I put on my resume. It was, what are your qualifications? Like, what can you do? And I was like, oh, well, I'm actually a really talented photographer. Like I could photograph, content or whatever for you. So it was always like a addition to a job. It was never something I saw being a job. And then COVID just kind of totally blew all of that up and changed my worldview for the better, which I'm forever grateful.
Yeah. Wow. I have so many questions, but the first one I want to ask mainly because I also kind of didn't know, you mentioned you were like, I really went into it at first for the business, not for the photography itself. So where and when did really the photography aspect that you were like, oh, I do love this, but I want this to be more of like a balance between both? Or is it still the business side outweighing kind of more the photo side?
I think for me, ultimately what it comes down to is having the independence that it gives me. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
And I think I always liked, whether it's, now having a full career out of it and being able to support myself and a family soon, which is nuts. But, in high school, like I said, it was cool to be the girl that that was phrased kind of weird, but it was cool to me to be,
it made sense.
To be the girl that I liked that I could make the money that I wanted to make and I wasn't at an hourly wage. And I think I just I quickly realized that having a business gave you freedom, and I liked having that freedom, that flexibility. I liked being my own boss. I don't do well when I'm underneath people.
Yeah.
And I'm super passionate about things that I am directly involved in and that I have a hand on, but I very quickly learned as I had jobs for other people that I was like, I don't give a shit about making them money or furthering their business. Like I just was not passionate about it. And so I always knew one day I would work for myself. I didn't know in what capacity. But I think to answer your question, that was a really roundabout way of saying it. I think I love photography. Truly, I do.
Yeah.
But it's funny because you were always so good at posting personal work. Like I so admire that about you, and I love that. It is not my first inclination to bring my camera with me on personal trips or when it snows. Like you took the most stunning photos of the city when it snowed, and that would just not, I don't know. And maybe it's because in my brain I associate taking pictures like with my job. And I want to change that because I want to shoot for myself. But I think I really do see it as a job more so. I think I always have. Yeah, I always have.
And that makes sense.
You know, it's funny though, because there's a part of me that doesn't want to say that, which I know is bad, because I think there are so many people, and this is totally fine if you're like this. There are so many people that are like, this is my art. And this, you know, and I love that for you, but that is just, I guess I just don't take myself seriously in that way. Not saying that those people do.
Oh, no.
But yeah.
Well, that's how you see your work. That's how you see your business. Like, that's the beauty of your own business, because it's what you want. It's what you want to get out of it. It's what you want to give to others. So I don't think there's anything wrong with anything you said at all. I think it's because that's what you chose to do for yourself, for your career. That's what makes you happy. That's what fulfills you. So that at the end of the day that's what matters.
Yeah, for sure. It's my business.
Yeah. It's
mine,
your business.
and nobody can tell me what to do with it.
True.
I do have a question then off of that a little bit, because I did notice, like, last year, 2 years ago, when you kind of rebranded, you really niched down to couples. And that, I feel like, really kind of led you into a lot of like the wedding scene. You were already in it, in that, like, at that capacity. But what then made you realize, like, we always say we kind of start out with like the families, the seniors, because it's easier. It's the same people that you know, people you can relate to. So where did like the couples aspect kind of come into play?
I think that's where I found my sense of fulfillment was forming those connections. And I found that with the couples, but I also found that through the wedding community. And any other, in my opinion, any other realm of photography just does not have that. With seniors, with families, with events, it feels very transactional. It's very one-off. It's, hi, I need you on this date. Okay, it's only email communication. It's see you there. I meet you for the first time, and boop boop, done. I never see you again. With a wedding and with couples, it's I'm with them for a year, 2 years. I get to know them. I'm planning with them. I'm dreaming with them. I get to connect with them and form friendships. And I'm really lucky that all of my couples are also interested in having those connections too. And that's been the most fulfilling part of this job. But again, like working, you know, that also you get to plan with vendors and we don't have coworkers. And so having, you know, the support system of other vendors like you guys and being able to fall back on and relate with and just like shit talk with when you need to, just like get it off your chest. Yeah. So I think I found my love for the communities, but I also knew that I didn't enjoy the other stuff. I don't like taking senior photos. I don't like taking family. I just don't. And my biggest fear in this career is burning out. And I knew that if I would continue to take on work in any capacity that didn't fulfill me, I would burn out. And that is the hardest boundary I've had to set, is I don't want to do that. Yeah. I think that's also to my couples, the people that I do work with, their benefit too, because when I am at my 100% and when I am fulfilled and able to fill my own cup first, then they get the best of me and they get the best work out of me. Right. So that's ultimately what it came down to. It was hard to do, but I'm so glad I did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
So working in the wedding industry, obviously there's pros and cons, and there's things that happen on wedding days that you can't plan for. Just kind of going into that, what is your favorite part about a wedding day itself, and what's your least favorite?
My favorite part is probably when...
It's hard.
Yeah. Yeah. My gut reaction went to when it's the like calm before the storm and she's putting her dress on. And it's just me, it's just her, and it's whoever's zipping her up. I think I also really recognize how vulnerable. I think I'm a mover. I know. I was like, ooh, still your little toe. I think I also really recognize how vulnerable of a moment that is, and how cool it is that I get to be there. So I think that's probably my favorite. That's a good one. Yeah. But then it's funny because my least favorite is also the morning. Like, so maybe, yeah, I think that's the one like pocket of peace in the like crazy hecticness that is the morning. I always just breathe the biggest sigh of relief once the couple just kisses when they walk down the aisle. I'm like, oh my God, okay, we got through like the crazy, and you know, we got here. This was the most important time we had to meet, and we got our pictures done because most of my couples do first looks. God bless.
God bless.
And yeah, so I get, the morning is probably my least. It just, there's the craziness and the uncertainty and all of that.
Is there something that you do in the morning for yourself before you arrive on a wedding day to just kind of center yourself? No,
absolutely not. No,
you're just like,
not.
I'm accepting this chaos for a minute.
And I need to. One of the things that I've been saying to myself for literally the last like 3 years is I am going to RG Casey Films. I learned this from Rachel and Gabe. They pack lunch boxes of snacks like for themselves and an actual lunch throughout the whole day. And that I learned that a couple of years ago, and I was just like, I want to do that. And I always tell myself I'm going to do it, and I never do it. It's also very rare I even eat in the morning, which is bad.
Same. I never eat before. We've talked about this before, like how trying
I try to
break
get you
through
to the smoothies, but she's got that whole issue. So
you just like we've said before, you don't know what you're coming into, so you're automatically already preparing for either worst case scenario or just like what is going to be thrown at me when I walk through these doors, and how am I going to handle it on top of doing my job. That it is just kind of like I gotta get through this, not in a bad way, but it is just like
forget to breathe.
You forget to breathe, you forget to eat, you forget to think,
you forget to pee.
That's a good one.
So still working on that.
Still working on it. It's not something I'm proud of by any means, but that's something I think I could do this year because I'm taking on a significant amount less this year. So there's no excuse for me to not get my shit together.
It's all a learning process, and we're all still trying to figure out, like, every wedding day is different. Every couple is different. Every scenario, everything is always different. So it's hard to have some type of like normalcy or routine when it is always different. But that's trying to find something like we've talked about before that just kind of centers you a little bit. Even the songs you listen to on the way there, or the things you just self-talk, tell yourself out loud of like, it's going to be a good day. No matter what, at the end of the day, they're going to get married. And that's all that matters. And I have the confidence that I know what I'm doing. I know I'm talented. No matter what gets thrown at my way that is out of my control,
I can handle it.
I can handle it.
I love that.
But it's hard to sit there and say that.
It is.
Especially in the moment where you're like, why is everyone coming up to me? Why is everyone asking me questions? Please leave me alone. I need to do my job.
See, are you an anxious girly?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
So anxious. I'm also a control freak. And so I feel like those two together in a wedding morning is not the best mix. Because I also am really mindful of the fact that my couples look to me and my energy.
Totally.
And so I want to present as calm, even if, you know, all hell is breaking
spiraling
loose.
inside.
Yeah. or I'm spiraling inside. My worst, like, I hate when couples ask me, are we on the timeline? Because then I lie to them, and I hate lying.
Yes.
But I will say I'm pretty good at keeping a timeline. But on the, you know, occasions
Things
where
happen,
things happen. And I hate having to be like, we're good. I got you. Like, just keeping that calm face, because I never, ever want to be a point of stress for my couples. I want to be a place of comfort and peace. And I feel like I have been, which is something that I'm really proud to say. But doing that causes a lot of stress and anxiety in me. But I will happily do that for them. Like, I'll take that on for sure.
I noticed that wedding days that I've second shot with you, I'm like, I've probably brought so much anxious energy because you're being so cool, calm, collected. I'm like, Mal, what do you need? What can I do?
No.
What do we need to do here? And I'm like, I'm probably making it so much worse.
I have a story with you, Mal. Do you remember what I'm going to say? The morning where you left all your like flat lay.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Sarah's gonna out me, but it's so true. That was so funny though. Example.
But
yeah. So Sarah and I worked a wedding together, and I have never done this before in my life, but I forgot something at home, and thank God Jacob, my fiance, was home. All my little I come with a bunch of flat lay, like a mat and
flat lay queen.
Flat lay things. Yeah. Again, because I'm a control freak and I need to like have my stuff. And you know, and I never know what the carpet's gonna look like. So so true. So I have to bring it. And I showed up and I forgot. And that's usually the very first thing I do when I get there. And so I'm frantically calling my fiance, who at the time was like at lunch with somebody, so I had to leave and go get it. And it just, with where we live, like it caused a delay. And that was crazy. And thank God Sarah was there, because I came to her, I knew she would understand. I knew she'd be so chill. And I was like, so here's the deal. We need to swap things. He has to get dressed first because I need to wait and do her stuff later. And it was all crazy and hectic, and my heart was pounding.
I remember at one point I was like, breathe. I was like,
no, literally.
It's totally fine.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
it's fine.
Literally the perfect person for that time.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
you're such a centering, calm person that you're like, hey, it's all right.
Yes.
And I'm like, what?
They are fine. I was like, they have no idea.
And it all ended up perfect. And she was none the wiser. It still is not to this day. And those details were fire. And it all worked out.
See, it always works out.
Yeah.
It always works out. But
does.
in the moment, it feels like the end of the world.
Yeah.
Because it is the responsibility of like, I have someone's wedding day on my shoulders. It's a shared responsibility, obviously, because I know you feel that heavily too. But like, still, nonetheless, you're like, I am responsible.
For sure.
Right.
For sure. And I care so much. And I want them to know that I care, and anything that I do that would lead them to think otherwise, oh my gosh, like it hurts me so bad. I feel so bad. And I never want them to feel that I don't take their wedding so seriously, or like it's the most important thing ever, because I so think it's the most important thing ever. So yeah, I'm always proud of myself. I am a night before packer. I have all my stuff. I literally had it to go. I just didn't grab that bag when I left.
It's probably because you didn't eat breakfast.
It's honestly
brain fog.
Yeah. It's probably that brain fog, girl.
Probably. I'm so glad that was with you, because that was a perfect example.
So it's like, I have this. I'm going to bring it.
Yeah. Since we're talking about it.
Yep.
Out her really quickly.
No, please out me, because that's perfect. I think I blocked it out of my memory.
Yeah, you're like, that did not happen. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Everything was great.
And you learn from it.
Yes,
See?
you do.
You moved on.
You
I do have kind of going off of that, maybe aside from that scenario, and it doesn't have to be like a specific thing that happened, but like, is there something like a big learning moment or a big moment that you're like, not an aha, because that's like a different, like, aha, I made it, which you can have that too. But is there any big lesson learning moment that stands out to you? Not just like on a wedding day, but owning a business in general.
Yes. I think it took me a minute there as you were talking to think about what I would say. And my mind was kind of turning to business. And so I'm glad you said it, because not necessarily a wedding day. I will say, even, what I just said, I am so I like usually have my shit together on a wedding day, that I have never really had like any like crazy hair on fire moments. And so people ask, I'm sure you get this all the time, what's the craziest thing that's happened? Not really much, which I've been thankful and lucky for, but I think that's just due to good planning. So I was like, I don't think I have like any crazy learning moments. Like I never missed like a kiss down the aisle or anything like that. But business wise, I've had to learn a lot, and I've had a lot of aha moments, but I think the biggest one being that I get to choose who I want to work with.
That's a good one.
And that has been the scariest thing that I've done, but the most pivotal for my business.
Yeah.
And it's been the best thing that I've done, obviously for myself, but also for the couples that I work with. And what I mean by that is I don't take on every couple that inquires with me, even if they want to book me. I am very much of the mindset that a decision for a couple to book a photographer and for a photographer to take on that couple is a mutual decision.
Absolutely.
It is not a one-sided, we want you, so if you're free, you're going to say yes. We both have to connect. We have to be, it has to click. It has to make sense, because if we don't, so if something's off, it's not going to work.
Right.
So when you make the decision to not work with a couple, how do you go about that and delivering that news to the couple?
Yeah. So I get that question a lot, especially from other photographers that are like, oh my gosh, what do you mean? And or I'll have people ask, well, what does your ideal client look like? And I think everybody's expecting me to say a certain aesthetic, a certain budget, a certain, more like stereotypical things. And it has absolutely nothing to do with any of that. It all comes down to personality, and what a couple is, like where their heart is, where their head is at, and what they hope to get out of their wedding day. My ideal client is a client who cares more about getting married than having a wedding.
Yes.
Who sees photography as an investment because they know how important these images are going to be for decades to come. My client is easygoing. They are laid back. They trust me, and they just want to have a great wedding day and just have it documented the way that it felt. Yeah. So to me, I get a good sense of that through their inquiry form, with how they answer questions or what they choose to tell or not to tell me. But then I also, so that's kind of the first like entry point, is I can tell pretty quickly on from there.
It says a lot.
It says a lot.
Are we going to take a meeting with this couple or not?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think an important note to point out here is that this does not, if there's a client that I don't feel like I necessarily align with, that does not mean that they're a bad client or their wedding's bad or their mindset is wrong. It just means that I'm not the right person for them. And I will happily direct you towards somebody who will be a great fit for you.
Right.
Because having, being more, it's okay to want to have a type of wedding that maybe I said I don't necessarily align with. Like, that's totally fine. There's not a certain right way to have a wedding. I'm just not the photographer for you. Yeah. And you don't know that because you've never done this before. And so I am going to use my expertise and I'm going to direct you towards somebody that is going to be able to serve you so incredibly well. Yeah. But so if we get on a call though, and maybe I didn't notice, at that point of entry that maybe we might not be a good fit, but I figure it out on the call. I have been pretty good on a call about saying, let's not make a final decision on this call. Like, I'm always saying, this call is for us to get to know each other better. And it's for us to decide if we will be a good fit together. I don't word it as, this is a discovery call where you are going to ask me questions and interview me. And so we're going to get to know each other and decide if we want to work together. Mutual. It's a mutual thing. And so usually by the end of the call, like if the vibes are going well and I can tell, like, I'll open the door and say, I'd love to send you a proposal, all that jazz. But if it's not going well, I'll just kind of close it and say, thank you so much. Like, let's all both think on it. We'll come back to it. I've only had 2 instances where the couple has come back and said that they wanted to book me, but I necessarily didn't feel like it was a good fit. And I was honest with them and I just said, hey, thank you so much for sharing about your day with me. It sounds like it's going to be so incredible. After reflecting on it, I just don't think that I'm the best fit for you. Yeah. And I would love to send you to XYZ because I think you'll really connect with them and love their work. And I've never had any pushback. And I know that those couples are better off because of it.
I think that's so powerful. And also like so just encouraging to hear, because I do feel like kind of a stigma in the industry is the opposite of that, of like, why would you ever say no? Like the kind of like the customer's always right, the client's always right. And it's like, yes, but also we are a business, but our business is so personal that it is personal. It's not business. It is at the end of the day a business, but it is personal. The decisions we make are personal. And you doing that for those people is going leaps and bounds further than just being like, yeah, sure, okay, because they might click with someone better. They might not fully understand what style is. And so they think they like yours, but you're like, no, actually, they're thinking about 5 other people I could name. I see the things that they say, their values, the things that they love, the things that they're looking for, that someone else excels with capturing on a day, that I know that where my strengths and weaknesses are, and maybe that just doesn't align with them. And I think that's so powerful for yourself, but also for them to be able to do. And I admire you so much for that.
Thank you. I think something else that couples don't know until they know is that I believe hiring a photographer based off of just their photos and how they work is not the best way to go about it. People don't realize how much time you spend with your photographer on the wedding day. You spend more time with them usually than your partner, which is kind of crazy, but it's just a fact of how it is. Yeah. And so hiring based off of personality is so important.
I say that all the time to my couples. I'm like, your planner and your photographer are the 2 that you really need to just base it off of that. For sure. Anybody else, like videographer, obviously it's still important, but they're more behind the scenes. They're there to capture everything. Your photographer is the one that's there directing it all alongside your planner.
They're bringing the vibes. Yes. They're bringing the vibes. They're bringing the energy. They're the ones that you can trust, that are going to have your back, that are going to do all of the things behind the scenes you have no idea about. Like that trust factor is such a huge deal. But just like, hey, are we also going to be friends on top of this too? Like, not that it's the forced friendship. You don't have to be friends, but like, is this someone, I always look at like, is this someone I could be friends with outside of doing this?
For sure. Because I think, it goes back to even how I told you my favorite part of the day is when she gets her dress on. What type of personality do you want in that room when you're getting your wedding dress on? What will make
when
you
you're
feel
at your
safe
most
and
vulnerable.
comfortable.
Yeah.
And I don't think people realize that until it's happening and it's in the moment. And I don't expect them to know that, but that's why I see it's hard for me to say no. That is so uncomfortable anytime I have to do it. And the first time I implemented it, I was like, oh my God, this is so scary. They hate me. It's gonna be so horrible. But it ultimately is for the betterment of them. So they just don't know it because they don't know. And I'm doing a good thing for them, even if they can't understand it at that moment.
Right. Absolutely. Well, and just for yourself. Because like you said, your biggest fear is like getting burned out by doing this job. So it's going to happen a lot quicker if you're working with people that are sucking the life out of you.
There's also that.
Yeah. And that is the reality sometimes, and that's okay. The personalities matches, just it's not there, and that's okay. And those are very draining days.
You're not meant to be friends with everyone. Just like we all have different friend groups, we have different friendships. You're not meant to get along with everyone, and that's okay. That's a human experience.
Yep.
It's all right. Doesn't make you any worse or better of a person. That's just life.
Yep.
That's life.
All right. We talked about kind of like good and bad of wedding days, things we like, things we don't like.
Yeah.
Kind of leaning into that a little bit. Are there some trends or some hot takes you have about, kind of pieces of the industry or part of the wedding day, things that you're just kind of like, wow, wish this didn't exist, or wish no one knew about this, or wish it never happened?
Yeah. There's a huge one that sticks out in my mind, and I'm really hesitant to talk about it just because I don't want it to come across a certain way to other people, or for past, current or present clients to think that I'm judging or take offense to it. But
it's your truth. That's what we always say. This is your truth.
But it's also just because it's such like a strong held tradition, but I do not like wedding parties. I think that bridesmaids, groomsmen, all that jazz, like I just don't see the point in them. In my experience, oftentimes they cause more stress than they cause, like, they're trying to be helpful most of the time. But I don't know. I think we could do away without them. The weddings that I haven't had wedding parties at, it is easier obviously it's easier on me. It's easier on the couple.
Right.
It's easier on everyone involved. I obviously understand, wanting to honor people in your life. And that is one of the most heavily held traditions that weddings have. But I just don't see a point in them. And I think that they're just, I think the day could go better. I think that your relationships would last longer. I think that you would enjoy the wedding more if you just didn't have them.
No, I think that's great. And I also, to your point at the beginning where you're like, I don't want to offend anyone. It's also so different because we see a wedding day from this is wedding day number 82. They only see it once. So probably when they get to the other side, they're like, wow, I would have made a different decision, but I literally am doing this one time. Whereas we see so many that we're like, we know and recognize so much better of what could be better for us. But those kinds of things are hard because they are so personal that you can't tell someone I promise you don't need this.
Yeah.
Because it's
Your
what they
friends
want to
don't
do.
need to be there.
Yeah. Some other capacity, you don't have to do it like this because it is hard because they're never going to fully understand the way that we are. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I also agree.
Yeah. And to that point, the couples that I have had that have had a very small wedding party or no party at all are generally, I say older, but they're not old, but couples that are, 30 or above.
Yeah.
Because they have been in many weddings before and they have realized, I don't really know. This is a lot of work.
Yeah.
This is a lot of money. This is a lot of hullabaloo that we just don't need. And, it's my younger clients that have the wedding parties of 12, 14. And again, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
You do you. And I will love on those people and cannot wait to take photos of them. Like I love any and all, but that would be my one biggest thing that coming into the wedding world, I didn't realize until I was in it that these are more problems than what they're worth, I think.
Yes, I agree. We've talked about that one several times. And how many people that, I think we said this before, of who still talks to all of their bridesmaids and have them we're I maybe talked to two.
Yeah.
It just...
It just causes more issues too of who you make your maid of honor versus your bridesmaids and offending them. And just adds another layer.
And then you're people pleasing.
And then you're people pleasing. And I think that one of the biggest things I've learned throughout being a wedding photographer, being in this industry or on the days of, is make it as easy as you can on yourself throughout the planning or on the day of. And one of the most stressful things, whether I've seen, my brides go through it or friends of mine, is picking those people. It causes so much stress. It can end relationships. It can change dynamics. It just, you could have the most incredibly understanding friends in the world, but there is just always it hits differently.
Oh yeah.
And so I think just avoid it altogether. And there are other ways to make your friends feel special on your wedding day or honor them in certain ways. They can still get ready with you. I would argue they have more fun on your wedding day if they don't have to get up at 6 a.m. and work and, wear what they want and all of that jazz.
Right.
So, I just think it's easier and better all around for everyone involved to just make that day about you two. It is not about your friends. It is about you two. So that is my hot take.
I love it. It's a good hot take.
It's a hot take I've never publicly shared, but I feel really strongly about.
Yeah.
But it's one I've always, because 99% of my couples have wedding parties, and I don't want them to think this is me disagreeing with what they're doing.
Right.
No.
And you don't want them to overthink the fact that they do and be like worried about how the day is going to flow.
Right.
If I have it. Absolutely.
For sure. Because I'm in the minority. Most people don't think like this. And I know that. And that's totally cool. And like I said, your wedding day is your wedding day. If you want to do whatever you want, and I will show up and be so happy to shoot it.
I love that. That's awesome. So then kind of going into, you were alluding to, you are currently wedding planning. Before we jump into the wedding itself and kind of how that's going, tell us about Jacob.
Oh my God, I love him.
Gosh, all over him. Tell us all about him.
Look at her face.
I know.
He is just like the best person in the world. Truly, I could not ask for a better partner. Like, and I would say that's the thing we talk about most in our relationship, or what, we just say we value most, is we are teammates, like true partners. And oh my gosh, I'm just so thankful for him. He's awesome.
Cuties.
I love it so much.
How did you meet?
On Bumble.
Love it. A modern day love story.
A modern day love story.
So good.
Yes, we met on Bumble, and I was was always very serious about dating. I wanted to find a partner, but I was not like frivolous with it. I was serious.
Yeah.
And so I was going on lots of first dates, and all of them were always so bad. And so I didn't think anything of it when we had our first date. I honestly, now knowing, we both almost canceled our first date, because it was a Sunday afternoon. I'd shot a wedding the day before. I was like, I don't want to be here.
Tired.
I think he was a little hungover to call him out. And he
Oh,
didn't
you
want
heard
to
it,
be
Jacob.
there. Yeah. But I'm so glad I did not cancel that date. And I walked in and it immediately felt different, and I knew I was going to marry. I'm a dramatic person, but I've never said before after meeting someone that I would marry them.
Yeah.
But I called my mom, texted my friends. I was like, I know for a fact this is my person. And it's been nothing but incredible ever since. He's my biggest cheerleader. I think what was different, or why I knew like, oh, this, like, he's different. Well, first of all, I couldn't get a word in because I could get a word in. He would not let me ask him a question. He was just so interested in what I was doing and loved my career. And in the past, I would always have prospective partners not take it seriously, or not think it was a career, or not care about it,
ask questions,
or they would be confused, and so they just didn't care to ask more because they didn't understand. But I mean, Jacob is my biggest fan, my biggest supporter. I mean, he is learning how to second shoot with me because he like wants to spend time with me and cares about it so much. And I am so grateful for him. And I love him so incredibly much. He's awesome.
You really go for it.
I was just this is not important at all, but do you remember what you messaged him on Bumble?
Yes. And it's funny. I logged back in a couple months into our relationship so I could screenshot.
Yes.
And I still have them. He had a prompt on there about how he needed like a partner to go to a lake house with, or go to his lake house with. And I think I responded something back about being a good lake partner or something. I don't know.
You're like, where's your lake house?
Yeah.
Want to go?
Yeah.
Going to
I
get
love
a tip?
it.
I do love that. To what you were saying, you guys really are each other's teammates. Like, you guys are such great partners to each other, just from the outside perspective, the way you guys cheer each other on, and just like the intentional time you make for each other. And then him, I think, wanting to learn and wanting to be part of your world is so freaking cool. And I love how he supports you. I love how you support him. I love you guys.
We love you guys.
Oh, I love you guys so much. Wow. I love it. I love love. I love your love.
Thank you.
So wedding planning, how's it going?
It's going well. We're past the 90-day point now, which I feel like is when things have started to feel real. And I'm getting more of that like anxious feeling about it, just because. So we've been planning. We got engaged last May, but we started planning last March, just because with our schedules, you kind of have to plan your life out.
Yep.
And so we had a little over a year engagement, and I am lucky. I have an incredible wedding planner, Mallorie McBride with Wildly Yours Weddings. Shout out to her. I love her so dearly.
It's the Mallories, man.
I know. I was like, of course you guys connected.
I know. She has been really, really good about allowing me to, because when we first started working, I told her, I said, I don't want my wedding to feel like work, which there's intentional decisions that we've made in order to try to avoid that if at all possible. But she's been really good about saying, you don't have to make any decisions right now. I'm going to have you wait until actually the last minute possible to make your final decisions, because I want you to go through the fall wedding season. I want you to see more things. And I want you to be able to make up your mind for what you want, you know, when it's closer to your wedding. I don't want you to have to make decisions 8 months out and feel like you can't change them, or I don't know, rush to make any decisions. And so we have kind of delayed as much as we can, which is really good. But now we're picking things back up again and making final decisions for design and floral. And I have my first dress fitting this week and all of that jazz. So it's just becoming more real, which is really exciting, but it's also, I'm like, what do I need to be thinking about that I'm not thinking about? So we have a meeting with her.
I was going to say, she'll
Friday.
Tell you. Just let it go, and she will tell you what you need to be thinking about.
That's been the hardest thing. That's been the hardest thing. And Jacob's constantly telling me, he's like, Mallorie will tell us if we need to do something. Just trust that she'll do it. So that's been a very hard thing to learn to let go.
Well, it's the same thing with you wanting your couples to trust you.
That's so true. I'm getting called out.
I'm helping you change your perspective on it. It's like,
true.
You know what? I trust when my couples trust me, everything is so much better and smoother. And so just do the same
with your planner.
Yeah. No, that's so true. And she's, oh my gosh, she's a godsend. Hire a planner. That's also my biggest tip.
Yes.
I think Sarah can agree with that.
Thank you so much. I totally agree. Yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome. Has there been anything like, I guess more so like being in the industry, has there been anything besides maybe relinquishing that control that has been kind of tough? Because you see the other side, you know, behind the curtain, you know what's going on.
Yeah, I think it's been more of a benefit, obviously, than a detriment, because I am able to, like I said, I've seen so many weddings and I know how important it is to make the wedding day as easy as possible. So everything's all in one place. No traveling, super important to me. I don't want any travel. I don't want any confusion. We didn't really necessarily have to have a plan B because nothing's outside, but like I would have had a plan B for, rain. And I would have liked that plan B as much as plan A, because odds are I probably would have had to use it. So like chosen a venue that I like all of, obviously not having a wedding party that has taken stress off of both of us in multitude of ways. Making decisions in terms of, the vendors that we hire, how many we hire, both of our photographer and videographer, we actually only have one, no second shooters. And that was something that I specifically asked for, because I have been a media team following a couple around all day and felt like I'm suffocating them. And I don't want to feel that way on my wedding day personally.
I love that.
So even though our sweet, amazing, incredible videographer, Allie, shout out with her third eye, always has a second shooter, I was like, would you be willing to not have one? So that it's just you. Like, obviously if that's difficult on you, like then have one. Right. But if that would be okay for your workflow, we would love to have it just be you, so that it's just her and our photographer for those intimate
very intimate.
moments.
Yeah.
That's so smart.
So little things like that. I feel like having like insight onto a wedding day has helped me to be able to make decisions, or just understand maybe what is important or what I see couples like really value or not value, or what works well. A lot of those things have been things that I've had to kind of convince Jacob on, just because, again, he's never done it. He only sees what's tradition. Right. And I don't fault him for that, but I've had to kind of, come with receipts a little bit to be like, no, trust me. This will be to our benefit. I know that it's out of the ordinary. People might be like, well, why are you doing that? But I promise you that we'll be glad we did it. Yeah. Ask me maybe in 4 months and I'll say something differently. But for the most part, I feel really good. What's most important to us at the end of the day is that the day feels slow and it feels intentional, and that we have time to do everything. So all of our decisions that we're making, from design to who we hire to how the timeline goes, is based around that. We want to be intentional and we want to enjoy the day and have time.
Are there any kind of non-traditional or like making your own tradition, so to say, that you are implementing, or like something you guys thought about or seen that you're like, we're doing that? Yeah.
The one that always comes to mind is obviously the no wedding party. Jacob's best friend is officiating. We are, oh gosh, what else are we doing?
It's a
You're
surprise.
already doing this. I know. I'm also like, don't feel like you need to talk about it in length. If there's things you're like, no, I don't want to. I want to keep it for myself.
No,
and keep
oh
it
my
for
God.
us.
I do not care. I am not a gatekeeper. I will happily talk about anything. we're staying together the night before.
I love that.
Yeah, we'll probably, I would love to like get breakfast with him the morning before. I want to show him my wedding dress, but he won't let me show him.
Oh, so he's like, no.
He's trying to do the more traditional side of things.
And I understand that and I get that. But I think, I kind of like screw tradition a little bit. Like I like don't really care. This is fun for me. It should be enjoyable. It should be fun. And like, I don't know. I don't. Any of those, I don't know. Yeah.
No, I love that. I love that you guys were Hell yeah. I love that you guys are staying together the night before too. Just like little things like that where you're like, why do we don't have to.
Yeah.
We don't have to do that.
Like, we literally live together.
For sure.
Yeah.
No, for sure. Yeah. We're having a lot of people at the rehearsal dinner too. We're having like 60 people. We are doing all speeches the night before except for my dad's. Just like little things that I'm like, this is what I want to do and I'm going to do it, and I'm not going to justify why.
No, because it's what you want. It's personal to you guys, and that's what makes sense.
Yeah,
I love that. As far as wedding day goes and everything that you've learned, is there any advice you would give to brides going through the process right now?
In terms of
being a bride,
just in general, being a bride.
Actually, now that you say that, I'm like, what was I gonna? I don't even know. I'm trying to think of now what I like, if there's anything specific or anything you've learned that you wish your brides would know before going into the process, before starting everything.
Probably just that who you hire is so important. It's, again, it kind of goes back to what you're talking about before. The people that you hire are more than just the products or the services that they give to you or produce for you. They are the people that you are spending so much time with, planning before and on the day of. And so not only do you have to like them and understand how they work and trust them, obviously that's a huge thing. Understand yourself too. Quick side note on that. I am the type of person who is more type A. I need to know what's going on. I need to be filled in on things. Like I need to kind of have my hands in all the jars. And so hiring a wedding planner, I had to tell her from the beginning, hey, I know you're doing things that I don't know about because that's what we're hiring you to do, but I just need to know that they're happening. So like fill me in on the loop, things like that. So I knew that there was a certain personality type I needed in a vendor. So just know that not every vendor works the same. And if you need somebody who's gonna be more communicative like that, know that that's your personality and you need that type of person. You aren't more of like the flippant last minute, type, and that's okay. But also vendors, take your vendors' recommendations in terms of other vendors, because a good vendor team that works well together also makes all the difference on your wedding day. If your vendors work well, play well together, they're going to put on an awesome day for you. And so trust that. I think that would probably be it.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Did you have anything?
No.
I had one more thing that I just wanted to ask.
Let it out.
That's cheesy. What are you most excited for?
About my wedding?
That's hard. Everything.
No, I know.
But is there one thing in your mind that you're like, I cannot wait?
Oh gosh.
It's a hard one.
Yeah. I also feel like I'm getting a taste of my own medicine because I ask my couples this a lot too. And they're always like, and now I understand why. I think there's so much, but I think the energy that's going to be in the room, because I get to be an outsider and I see that energy in other people's rooms. So I'm so excited for that to be my energy of my people. Probably that. Yeah. And just having, everybody always says that this is like, the one and only time in your life where all of the people that you know and love are in the same room. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see and feel that. And I'm just excited to see it all come together. Yeah. I love the design aspect of it. So I cannot wait to walk into the space and like see what Mal does, and see how it comes together and to like see a vision come to life. Cause I'm a sucker for those things. I love that stuff. So yeah.
I'm excited for you. I'm so excited for you.
Me too. But I told Jacob last night, I was like, there's a part of me that is just like kind of excited for it to be done, if I'm being honest.
Oh, nothing wrong with that.
Every single thought that when I'm not working is, oh my God, you guys, the outfits, figuring out what I'm going to wear to all these stupid things.
Oh,
That's been the hardest part about
your
planning.
bachelorette's coming up.
It's in a month. I'm so excited. But you guys, I'm putting this pressure on myself, but I want to have the coolest freaking outfits ever. And it's so hard. Like everything I like is $500 or more. Like it just, I'm just so sick of typing short white dress into Google. So I can't wait until I don't have to do that every night or planning our honeymoon. Oh my God, you guys. I'm excited for it to be legal and just be married too. And like to think about the next phase. We want to get a dog. We want to buy a house, all that stuff. So just like it to be like the dust settles and it's all done.
Yeah. No, I think that's very fair.
Two things can be true at once.
Yes.
You can be so excited for the day itself, but also be ready for it to just like, we're ready for the next chapter.
For sure.
Yeah. Weddings are a big part of this podcast and a big part of our world. But we also have two other pillars we kind of wanted to touch on a little bit. And the first of them being wellness, because I feel like you are very in tune with working through your wellness journey, and something I also admire about you in that regard. So kind of wanting to step into that space a little bit.
So what are ways that you take care of yourself throughout all of this crazy journey of life? How do you center yourself?
Yeah, I think boundaries have been a big thing. And like I said, the largest just being boundaries about how much I take on and what I take on. That has been the biggest difference in enjoying my life and liking my work and just being excited to do it every day. So that probably is the largest thing for wellness. I think finding something outside of weddings has been big this past year. My goal for 2024 was to find something new to invest my time in that had nothing to do with photography or weddings. And I've always enjoyed Pilates. That was like the one fitness thing that I found that I actually really enjoyed. And I think it was last like January or February, they were like, we're looking to train new instructors. And I was like, light bulb, ding, maybe this is what I should do. Yeah. And so I went through training last April and I've been teaching since June. And it has been a really good way to just use my brain in a different way and have a different thing to focus on. My life just doesn't revolve around one thing anymore. Because when I started this job, Grace and we talk about this all the time, our hobby, photography, became our job. And so then our whole world revolved around one thing. And I was like, this is just not healthy for my brain. Because if I didn't have something else to do or think about, or when I lived alone, I would literally just get up, work, stay at my computer all day, and then work until, and then just go to bed. And that's not good. So finding something else to consume my time has been good. Also giving myself grace for everything. I think has, just letting myself, if I don't get this done today, it's not the end of the world. I have really understanding clients. One time in the 5 years that I've been doing this, have I been late on any gallery of any sort? And it was this past summer. Things caught up to me. I realized I was like, I'm not going to get this done in time. I still have so much to do, and it would be a disservice to this couple to try to rush it and get it done today. Right. And so I had to send that dreaded, I'm so sorry, but I need another week email. And they were so kind and so understanding, but just that was a big, okay, the world didn't end. They're not threatening to sue me because I'm in breach of contract.
Not going to go to jail.
So I think, giving myself grace and being like, it's okay. Yeah. But again, I think a lot of that goes back to the boundary of I have really awesome people that I work with.
And you are very awesome at setting healthy boundaries. I think
it's hard.
I come to you.
Say, how did you learn how to do that?
I have a really good therapist.
Love it.
And Grace is not giving herself enough credit because
this is your episode. It's not about me.
No, I'm so serious. Grace is the person that I go to when I need, when I'm like, hey, help me. And she reflects back to me, no, this is a boundary. You need to set it. But it's nice because we work, our brains are literally the same. And so that's why it's so nice to bounce back and forth, because she goes, I'm telling you this, but I also understand where you're coming from because I would think the same way. And so there's also validation in hearing her say that. And so, I was
going to say the exact same thing about you. I'm like, you're the one I go to for all of my questions.
Well, that's why we help each other, and that's why it's so good, and that's why you can't do this alone. I'm of the full belief that like I would not be anywhere near where I am if it were not for all of the people that are in my life, in whether that be Jacob, my family, my friends, all the people I've met, all, like literally oh my gosh, there's no way, because those boundaries come from people, either whether it's shared experiences that, you know, they tell me about and I'm like, oh, that's a clause I should put in my contract, or like Rachel and Gabe, how they bring lunch to every wedding.
Right.
I learned that from you. I want to implement that so that I can be a better, you know, a better person on a wedding day. Things like that, or just experiences, you know, that I'm like, I will never do that again. So that's a boundary I need to have.
Yes. Have you, kind of going off of that, are there any good tools or tips or anything you've come away with from going to therapy?
Yes.
When did you start going to therapy?
I was just going to ask that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I will be so open. So I had a rough transition into college. I was dating the same person all throughout high school. It was a really good relationship, and we broke up only because it was different colleges and, you know, different phases of life. And so not having like a definitive reason for why it ended, like, really messed with my head.
Yeah.
And so that was a large part of it.
Not the control freak in
Not
you.
that, literally the control freak.
Comes Sarah with that.
I have no control over it. And then entering college too, again, going back to, you know, being an overachiever in high school, I had, you know, spent 4 years establishing myself. I was, you know, cheer captain. I was on student council. I was, you know, the leader of everything and all this jazz. And I had proven myself. And then, you know, you step into college and no one knows who you are anymore. You have to prove yourself again.
Yeah.
And so I kind of got hit in the face with just a multitude of things.
It's like a loss of identity almost.
It's a full loss of identity, and just having to reinvent yourself. But while also doing it at a college where I knew a lot of people. So there was just a lot of like,
that's an added layer.
Fuck things.
Yeah.
And I did not handle it well. And being in an environment where there's a lot of drink, it just was not good. And so that was the first time where I remember my mom saying a couple times, like, do you need to see someone? And then I finally had a really bad night and texted her when I had a bad night and was like, I do need to see someone. So she helped me find somebody. And that was my first intro into therapy, and it was great. And I've loved it ever since. And I did it for my first year of college, and then felt like I was in a pretty good spot and kind of teetered off. And then coming into senior year, I knew, I was like, okay, another change is about to happen when I graduate. Knowing last time I had a difficult, you know, transition, I'm going to be proactive. I'm going to get into therapy now. And so I started at the beginning of my senior year with a different therapist. And just to, you know, be proactive. And they always say, like, the benefits you get out of therapy come, you know, after you've been there for a while, because you need to lay the groundwork with them first.
Right.
So I'm going to lay the groundwork while I was still healthy, so that by the time stuff happened, she could help me transition.
Yeah.
Obviously, our graduation in 2020 looked so different than what I thought it would be. So she ended up helping me in different ways, but helped me transition out of college and into adult life. And a lot of what we talked about was like dating and finding a partner, but also career stuff too. Yeah. And then I felt like I was in a good, healthy place and kind of teetered out. But then once we got engaged, I got back into it again, just because dynamics,
communication, skills, how to.
And not even just with Jacob, we have the most incredible relationship and communication. But when we got engaged, dynamics just became a little more interesting, just with a new event.
Just changing
relationally.
It seems like for you, again,
it's changed. It's a life change. We also moved in together when we got engaged, and that was a big adjustment. I wasn't expecting either. I had lived alone the year prior, and then in homes with girls for the 6 or so years prior, and so it was just an adjustment.
And
it was a loss of identity
difference
for a minute.
Yep.
And so just new dynamics and new things that I hadn't thought of had just come up, and just lots of life changes. I became an aunt this past year. Like, there's just a lot of things. My family has changed a lot, and I have changed a lot, and what I want out of life has kind of shifted too. So working through that with her has been really pivotal this last couple of years.
You mentioned family, and I do want to point out, I love that your mom said, like, hey, do you need to talk to someone, or should you? Yeah. I love that she was huge. Encouraging of that. Do you think you would have sought out any sort of therapy or help had she not said that? Or did that just give you validation of like, oh, I feel supported in this to go do this?
I think, that definitely validated things. I remember, I think I blocked out a lot of things in that time, but I also think there are a lot of things just blocked in my memory because I was drunk, to be honest. And that's like how I was coping. I would drink and I would cry. But I think that there was a sense of just societally we talk about all the time, the sense of like failure, or I wanted to do it for myself. I'm a very independent person.
Yes.
I would lock myself in my room when I was 3 because I wanted to learn how to braid. I wanted to tie my own shoes. I wouldn't let anybody help me. It's very hard for me to ask for help.
Yeah.
Very hard for me to ask for help. And so I think that's one way that I saw that was asking for help, or maybe admitting defeat. Like I thought,
I'm not perfect.
I'm not perfect, or realizing, okay, it is really that bad that I need to ask for help.
Yeah.
So I think I'm glad that I drunkenly said that to her in like in a really sad state, because it kind of forced me the next morning to be like, oh, well, is that it? So I have to do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And now it's carried on through how many years and phases that it's kind of helped you, that you've noticed like, okay, that did help me get through this. I don't necessarily need it right now in this moment, but then you felt comfortable to go back to it and revisit it in another stage of life where you're like, I recognize this is what I need and this is what's good for me.
Yeah. And I think that's probably the biggest thing that I would say to people, because I think there's still a lot of stigma around therapy, but I think it's getting better, which is great. But I think that there's a misconception that once you get in it, you can't ever stop. And I've stopped and started now 3 times. Yeah. And it's okay to, come and go. I've had 3 different therapists. The girl I love now, I will never leave her. I absolutely freaking love her to absolute death. She's incredible.
Can I have her name after this?
Yes,
I know.
Yes, I
I'm like,
love her.
that's
She's amazing. That's also really important too, is finding somebody that you click with. And again, it's all about who you click with.
Yes.
And who you
Full circle.
Yes, full circle. But she's incredible. So and in different phases of your life, call for different people or different ways of doing things or different things. I don't think I will ever leave this girl ever. But I think like I definitely could see, and we've talked about, after the wedding, like things might calm down and I might, we might need to take a break, or maybe I see you once every other month. It doesn't have to be that you go once every week. And, there's sometimes I walk in her office and I'm like, there's nothing to talk about. And she's like, that's totally okay.
Yeah. That's awesome. I thank you for sharing that journey, because I know that's something we're both kind of simultaneously walking through at different levels.
Yeah, I think we're both like, we know the benefit is there and we both like know that we probably need it
and want it,
but we're scared to start because of the whole, it's just making excuses really. It's like, I want to find the right fit and I don't want to waste my time. And well, if I'm on that journey to find the right therapist and I'm like, is my anxiety going to be heightened because I'm just focusing on that anxiety and all of that. So
yeah,
I'm just really proud of you.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Well, I also have to shout out Delaney Haiti. She is also a therapist, and she is who I reached out to. I said, hey, I'm looking for somebody. Who do you recommend? And she sent me to the girl that I have now. And it was, obviously a luxury that not everybody has, but I was able to ask a friend that knows me to recommend somebody that I would jive with. Right. So that was a really big benefit. But there's other ways, ask other friends who may be in therapy, or just take a chance to go to a session, and pretty quickly, I think you'll be able to pick up on like, does this person, personality wise connect, or do they work in a way that I like, or things like that. But also my other biggest tip to people just starting is you have to give it like a solid 6 months at least. You have to lay that groundwork with them. It's a lot of just them getting to know you. It's a lot of you getting comfortable, and then the real work happens after that 6 month period. So don't knock it if you've only been like 3 times and you're like, I'm not getting anything out of this. Because it is expensive. So it's an investment, 100%. But I see it as an investment into my health, and just like I would for a gym membership, it's kind of like that.
I love that. That's really smart.
Yeah.
Just a couple more about womanhood, since we haven't really hit on that third pillar until now. What is something that you think women should celebrate more?
Forgot that was on there.
It's a hard question.
Yeah. Woohoo.
It's a hard question. I think women need to celebrate slowing down more.
Where is it? Hold on.
See.
There we go.
I didn't know that you put that in there with this thing. I thought that you added that later on.
It is there.
Oh
if you ever feel like you need to clap, it's C.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Wait. How cool. See the magic. I'm learning how the magic is made.
We're learning with you. Don't worry.
That's okay. But yeah, I think there is such a hustle culture. And I think we're doing a good job at detangling it, like society is, at least since COVID. I think that people are realizing like the hustle culture is bad, especially for women.
Yeah.
And I say that too, as trying to practice what I preach. I have really tried to lean more into my feminine and less into my masculine over the last year since Jacob and I have gotten engaged and we've lived together. And this is something that I talk about a lot with my therapist, is I realized I was on, such a masculine, like, Energizer Bunny, go-getter. I have to get this done and do all of this. And I met Jacob and I met my partner, and I realized I think I want to get a little softer. I've worked really hard in my business for the last 5-6 years. I deserve to kind of not coast by any means, but I deserve to enjoy the fruits of my labor.
Yeah.
And have weekends off.
Yes.
And have nights off and allow myself a chance to breathe. And so I think that I really try to encourage my other female friends, like, it's okay. Like you can be, you know, I hate this term, the boss babe. Like that's totally fine. I love them and be them, but also know that that's not all that you have to be.
Right.
And that just because you take a break or you slow down doesn't mean that you're less than or you're not working hard. It means that you value yourself and you want to be the best person you can be. And you can't do that unless you slow down.
I love that. I think for me, I think about that a lot with, like, again, societal norms of, I think, why do we lean more into kind of like more of that masculine energy is because, like, that's how we feel we're going to prove ourselves and to prove that we can do it and we're worth it. So then we get in that mindset and then we're like, well, I can't go back because then I'm going to be seen as lesser, not capable, or those kinds of things. So I think there is something so true and powerful in the sense of, like, you can do both and we should do both.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with either or. It doesn't mean one is any less or better than the other, but it is hard to kind of tackle that sometimes, I'm sure, especially with being like, no, it's okay to slow down. We should, as should men. Everyone should. That's, I think I was telling you or one of my friends last week, like, this is a season. There's a reason hibernation is a thing.
You told me because I was freaking out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I said this to two people and you were one of them. Like, there's a reason.
I don't feel good. And my to-do list is just piling up.
Yes.
And I feel like I can't get to everything.
Yes. Yeah. And this season is meant for hibernation. It's meant for slowing.
Recharging.
Yes. But also that should be a thing in the busy times of the year too. It shouldn't just be, but like the season is made for that. Like, don't go outside, stay inside. It's warm. Nest a little bit. It's okay. But I think finding that balance and giving yourself the grace to do that is so important.
Yeah. I love that.
Well, Mallory, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your authentic self. Thank you for just kind of diving in with us and being a part of the ebbs and flows of us figuring out the podcast, but also just the things we threw at you, the questions we had for you.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, guys, thank you. Seriously, I so admire both of you and how honest and vulnerable that you have been throughout this whole experience, and just the door that you have opened for this community is so needed, long time needed. It's about time, and I know how much courage that took to do this and still continue, like it takes to continue to do. So just know that I have so much admiration and respect for you guys. And I would not have been able to be honest and open and vulnerable like this if you hadn't set the precedent to do so. So you guys are so needed. So major kudos to you guys. Seriously, what you're doing for our community is off the charts incredible. And I cannot wait to see what you continue to do and who you have on, and how people everybody needs to be more open and honest. We're all in this together. And I think that that's truly like the key to having a great wedding vendor community. And so thank you guys for being the ones to spearhead it, because that's not an easy task.
Thank you. Shit, what do I even say back to that? No, thank you. It means a lot coming from you, someone I know both admire and look up to. So hearing those things means a lot. So thank you.
Well, thank you. I admire and look up to you guys. So the feeling's mutual.
Well, I'm excited to celebrate you here in a few weeks. Excited to have some fun.
The final countdown.
Yes.
I know.
Oh,
Guys,
I can't wait to see how
send me thoughts, prayers, and good energy.
You've got it.
Non-stressful anxiety energy.
Yes.
You've got it. You're doing all the things you should be doing to manage that.
Yes.
So
thank you, Planner Sarah. I need to hear it.
You are on track. It is fine. It's gonna be natural to feel the pressure the closer you get. That's just what happens.
For sure.
Just lean into it. Like, this is the one time that you're gonna be you're the bride.
Yeah.
So lean into that and
crazy.
Soak it all in.
Crazy, but I will. Thank you guys so much.
Yes. We love you.
Love you guys too.
Bye.
Bye.